guys, welcome back. Before we start, what do you think the use of Musketeers fort? If you thought it was only about rewards, then you misunderstood it, and does not maximize its usefulness. So it's actually a training ground, where you can try to beat other players and do trials without losing the real troops. The same is the case with UAC and New World, because no troops were actually lost during the event. Although there are some players who hide their stats for some reason, by setting troops while in a condition, removing equipment and other things. It was generally done by the big players to trick their opponents, but there was really no need. Because still, when they met at KVK, they could find out with just one suicide attack. And the main goal is to practice arranging formations and guards and then looking at the comparisons. Then find out which one is the best. And you can see the best and worst results with that formation. And to see the comparisons, you have to find an opponent who is stronger than you. We know this is one-on-one, march against march. And for KVK we can adjust and ask all rally participants to send the same troops with the same percentage if using mixed troops. For a full march cavalry or distance it is clearly not necessary because it is very easy to do. There may be an opinion like this, or any other narrow mind that doesn't try to see more. I will show my training results at the end of the video when my farm account receives hits from some players with higher stats and a higher tier troops. And I'll explain some of the things you may not have thought of. And when doing KVK, it is also the result of training from fort. I can know all the possibilities that will happen. You can see in some of the KVK videos that I have shared. And before you practice, make sure you are in the best condition. Don't forget the war book, because without it the result will be much different. And make sure the guard you have can be used. Unlocks all skills and maximum EXP, because it will also have an effect. Don't forget to also find out your formation in defense. What formations can beat it and how many statistics are the opponents who beat your formation. Then try to take revenge, and see the results. All of this was just practice. But it works the same as in battle, and once you know the results it will help you make decisions in battle. And it can also help you make other decisions, like which stats to increase next, and which troops you need to train more. As well as several other decisions that suit your circumstances. And I'm going to give some examples under the conditions I'm in. And you need to remember all of this is knowledge that can always develop and change. Just like how the guard works, my early days in playing guard didn't have a big impact like now. And it continues to grow, and is not meant to boast. I was one of the fastest to know how the guard worked at that time, the day after the update, and at that time almost everyone complained because they didn't know how it worked, and sent the guard wrong. But many didn't believe it because they didn't understand correctly. And confusion with their own thoughts. So the point is you have to understand correctly, not try to justify what you're thinking. And if you find it difficult to understand, then in this channel I will help you. And I will share all the information that I have gathered, and try to convey it more concisely so that it is easy to understand. This is not easy, because there is still a lot of important information that I need to convey so that all players, especially beginners, can really understand how to play and enjoy it. Now I will tell you something about the battle. It also relates to low tier, which will only cost you. I am currently playing with the farm account and I have sent reinforcements with the main account. There are some important facts here. This is a kingdom raid event. And this too is practice. Because the troops aren't really dead, only 10% if it exceeds the hospital capacity. I know he's on from this, it's just been installed, and the bubble just dropped. If you use the battlefield treatment scroll, then all of them will only be injured, except for the number who are injured a lot, and exceed the capacity of the hospital. I was only planning on receiving one hit, and left immediately. Now let's check the report. This is an attack from me. Look at this. All my troops are only injured. These are his troops entering the hospital. This died because it exceeded the capacity of the hospital. These are truly dead and lost. 10% of the total troops who died because they exceeded the hospital capacity. Look at those statistics. Much higher even than my main account. Now let's see the wounded and dead troops. This is the so-called meat shield, which I mentioned in the previous video. That's what caused his hospital to be full. As I said, it is useless and dies easily. And this, when I took a hit, he lost 71,000. It all happened because his meat shield had filled the hospital, so that when he hit there was no more space, and if this was between fellow kingdoms, he would lose 712,000 troops. It also applies to KVK. That's the real war in this game, where the troops actually die. Now let's see my wounded and dead troops. All infantry are dead, and injured is natural because they always die first. Besides, I don't have enough war books on this farm account to strengthen infantry, and I purposely don't train it except for the daily quest. I didn't lose any cavalry, and I lost a few distance troops, because my hospital was getting full too. And all the artillery. For reinforcements from the main account, almost all of them were injured. It's also because the hospital is still empty. And for the main account statistics, I was lower than the attacker. So the tips are: before attacking, try to empty your hospital so that there is a place for injured troops. You can use gold if you are pressed. For the losses troops, it's best to leave them there until the end if you don't really need them, like low tiers and artillery. But like I said in the previous video, it's useless, so it's better to upgrade them to the highest tier, so you can use them in attack or defense. These are the remaining reinforcements. And other tips: always try to upgrade your hospital according to your castle level so that you have a bigger capacity. It will also increase the capacity of your sanctuary. For KVK or war within the same kingdom, remember the cost of healing is less than training a new one. Does anyone think it's coincidence or for the sake of content? Then look at this. I almost always do. Just for the sake of getting a report for me to study in more detail. Then I made improvements when I saw a flaw. At first all this was just for my pleasure. Because I like war, not just counting numbers, or doing events that take up too much time. Although some need to be done if it delivers decent rewards and relates to castle stats and growth. Pay attention to this report. I used to use distance guards for walls because I thought it was better with a lot of distance troops. But that thinking is wrong. There is something that I realized about the guard skill. Although it's good enough. But there is something better, namely the garrison guard, which has the damage received skill. And also the situation has changed. I already have some EXP to increase the garrison guard. So it's like playing in a new kingdom, which made a gradual increase in everything before it truly was worthy of the battle. If I use EXP for the garrison guard first, of course I can't use the distance guard to attack. So it's a pretty tough choice. And this is longer than before, where all the troops are still at full distance. And I'm lazy to wait or go to another kingdom. So just leave the castle with the smoke bomb. So when my defenses lose, then the shield will open. And the shield only lasts 2 hours, so it must be on at least every 2 hours to check. And this is when I'm on to check after a few minutes. I lost 1.1 million. And the enemy lost 447,000. Let's check in more detail. This is what I often do for my research, you can try it too. So all the information that I provide is not nonsense and just a count without testing. Where most people are just guessing but not trying to prove anything. Exactly like the person with this comment. So for those of you who are just playing, or the inexperienced, can follow the tips that I show you, which I tested before saying it. Not just what I think and try to justify it, because I did something wrong too, in some way. That's where I learned, after looking for proof of its truth. So basically we are all the same, play for fun, and the tips that I give are just to help understand and show new things that you may not know and do it wrong. Or do things that are equally right but in a better way. And this is the main account, where some troops have been injured during the reinforcement of the farm account, and I don't want to use gold for this event unless forced and for important things. Time was running out anyway. So just trying to find resources, but someone tried to hit me. You will see how to defend this castle without meat shields and how to place the war book. From the stats he must have spent more money than me, but the damage wasn't normal for an old kingdom. And you can see all my troops and troops who are wounded. And this was the previous 3 months, where I purposely waited, and the stats that hit me were far high and my castle caught fire in the second hit. This is the second blow report. I lost enough troops but got reports to increase my knowledge. And this is the first hit. So that's how I learned the ins and outs of this game. By doing lots of observations and trials. You can do it too, and if there is any doubt we can discuss it together on this channel. There are still many things that I can say, and so far this is only a small part. But in conveying the information I'm trying to present the proof of the screenshot so that the beginner doesn't get confused by what I'm conveying. That's what is a bit of a problem in gathering the appropriate screenshots and assembling them. Much easier to make KVK videos or other battles. Especially if you don't need to say anything. So that's all the video this time, see you in the next video.